Okay. Very good morning to all the venerables and Dhamma brothers and Dhamma sisters. And I'm not sure whether there are any of my senior monks here, but anyway, if there are, please permit me to speak on the Dhamma. So before we start, let's pay respect to the Guru. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. We're quite happy coming here. This is the first time I come to Samadhi Vihara, being a Malaysian myself and a Malaccan, so near to this place. And that is the first time I come. There is sadhu for the invitation. And I was given the topic, my experience in teaching meditation. So I would like to share on this topic. I started in 2006 when my preceptor, the most venerable Paul Seattle, instructed me during the Vasa in 2006 in Paul to teach. Actually, I was bent on further my practice, but anyway, since there's a request from theology, I thought it is good that I also having received the benefit of the Dhamma. So it is good to share my teaching. So that's how I tried. So mainly, I was since 2006 I was concentrating in teaching meditation. Even though I realized that to spread the sasana, there are many other things. We also need to do something such as some welfare work and things. But meditation is a field which is so neglected, and so many of Buddhists are still not having the opportunity to be trained in meditation, in bhavana, and in the cultivation of mind. So that's why I focus mainly on meditation teaching. So we teach samatha meditation usually first, followed by vipassana meditation. And as we know, I guess all of you are familiar with the path of purification. It is samatha meditation enumerated in the Visuddhimagga. And we have 40 samatha meditation subjects. So we also teach, but mainly we focus, for beginners we always start with either anapanasati, mindfulness of breathing, or 4 elements meditation. This is it. But as time goes on, when we see some meditators, they may not be so easy to pick up on certain meditation subject. We also like to try others. For example, kasina. We have 10 kasinas, earth, water, fire, wind kasinas, and then the colors kasina, 4 colors kasina, and then the space kasina, light kasina, space kasina, all 10 kasinas. So sometimes certain meditators, they may find very difficult to practice anapanasati. We also let them try kasinas. And also the 4 Brahma Vihara, Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha. Yes, we also let them try on that. Basically, these are for anapanasati, we can practice from first jhana, from the beginning, from excess concentration, and slowly can practice up to first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and fourth jhana. Usually we try. It is good once the meditation they get jhana, concentration, absorption, apana, samadhi. Then it is good. It will be much easier for them to practice vipassana. And I have trained myself in other systems as well in the past. But when I check, I notice we struggle very hard when we do not have samadhi. It's a great effort. We have to suffer a lot and have to strive very hard to practice vipassana without having good foundation in samadhi. So for our students, we try to let them practice up to apana samadhi if possible, that means jhana. And usually not too difficult if they have practiced up to excess concentration. From there, a little more effort and skillful guidance, then it is possible. The jhana is not, it's achievable nowadays. It is possible, still achievable. So then we also maranasati or marananusati, recollection of that. And that is also helpful. And asubha also. Then before we proceed to vipassana meditation. So, from my experience having sound training in samatha meditation, it's very helpful for yogis who practice vipassana. For example, a yogi who emerges from fourth jhana, such as anapanasati fourth jhana or white kasina fourth jhana, which we commonly use, or light kasina fourth jhana. After that, the mind produces very powerful light. Actually, the light comes even before jhana. But once a person attains up to fourth jhana, then the light of wisdom becomes very powerful and very stable and very strong. So using the light of wisdom, we can penetrate ultimate realities of the 5 aggregates of clinging. We can develop deep insights stage by stage. As we know, these 5 aggregates of clinging is the first noble truth. In the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, you read, the Buddha said, Sankitena panchuparana khandya dukkha. So, in short, the Buddha said suffering, the truth, noble truth of suffering. At first it says, birth, old age, sickness, death, and then associating with what we don't like, dissociating with what we like, and what we love, and not getting what we want. This is suffering. But the last part, the Buddha said. In short, the 5 aggregates of clinging is suffering. But what are these 5 aggregates of clinging? The first, we have rupa, we have this is materiality, and we have vedana, feeling, and then we have sanya, perception, and we have sankhara, formations, and we have vijnana, consciousness. What are these things? What are these things? And in order to penetrate, to understand these 5 aggregates of clinging, we need strong concentration. And with the help of light and wisdom, then we can shine. Like in a way, as if we are using a torchlight to shine, to see in the dark. You want to shine, you want to see something, you shine. So in the same way, our mind produces powerful light. We call light and wisdom. This we can shine. At the beginning, we shine on the internal, and later we shine on the external. Internal, at first, at the beginning, we see concepts. If you don't see ultimately, really see concepts, like internal organs and body, heart, and all the 32 parts. Then later, if you are trained through the method of 4 elements meditation, up to a point, we can see ultimate reality. For example, if you use 4 elements meditation, you can see until your body, up to a point when you reach excess concentration, you can see until a point your body is like an ice cube or a crystal, something shiny, brilliant. And from there, some people with a past experience, they have a good paramita, good training in the past. Naturally, it breaks into kalapas. Small particles, or subatomic particles. And in each kalapas, we have to analyze the elements. The earth, water, fire, wind, color, order, flavor, and then nutriment. For example, we have at least 8. At least 8 rupa, we have that nutriment, oja, we say, in Pali. So we can analyze. To break down, why we want to do this? We have to break down the compactness. It's a compactness in our mind that we hold things to be something solid. But when we break down compactness with the light of wisdom, we see all those ultimate reality. Even the kalapa is concept. You have to break down the kalapa level. Even the kalapa is a small subatomic particle, which is the smallest unit, unbreakable unit. Even you go down to that level, it is a concept. So you have to break down and see the ultimate reality. And then after that, we work on it. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. We can practice that. So in order to practice this, you need to have deep concentration. Because without concentration, how can our naked eye see so great details? And that's the important thing. When we have this, we break down into this great detail. At first, we see the ultimate reality. Secondly, the mind that is capable of breaking down ultimate reality, to see to the ultimate reality, that mind is very powerful. So with a very powerful mind facing very ultimate realities, then the impact on the mind is very powerful. The impact on the mind, it works on our purification. As you know, many people have this experience. Well, I know Dhamma. Bhante, I know Dhamma. I know Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. I know, I see the leaves falling. I know Anicca, Dukkha, Anatta. I see my grandfathers, grandmothers passing away. I feel the pain, I see. But I still cannot let go. Why? Why? Because the mind has not seen enough. We say we understand, but we don't understand enough. So because of that, the Buddha come up with this powerful training of requiring us to achieve samadhi before we develop that kind of panya, bhavana maya panya. The panya, the wisdom, that doesn't arise out of thinking, hearing, but arise out of penetration, direct insight into reality. This kind of wisdom we need in order to achieve purification, deep level of purification, which can eradicate our latent defilements. Okay. That is why we need strong concentration. And not only we need to understand rupa, our body, we need to understand nama. This nama, in the classification of 5 aggregates of clinging, there is this Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. These 4 aggregates comes under the category of nama. So, what is this nama? It's just consciousness and mental states, citta, cetasika. And if you understand Abhidharma, actually, Abhidharma is not meant for theory. It is meant for experience. So, let me branch out a little bit, divert a little bit from here. When I first met Paul Sayadaw in the year 1995, I have a lot of questions. Sayadaw, you are teaching about this Abhidharma stuff. Is it possible? My teacher told me it's not possible to experience it. Then Paul Sayadaw told me, very simple, one word, one sentence. He said, the Buddha's teachings are meant for the disciples to realize only. That simple words gave me strong impact on my mind. The Buddha did not teach for theory and for study, but the Buddha teaches, and the Buddha taught those days, for our realization of Nibbana only, for the liberation from the samsara only, not for only scholastic interest, but for our purification, for our cessation of suffering. So they gave me very deep impact. Then later I realized, it's true, that all this teaching, this systematic teaching, given in Abhidharma, are meant for realization. It's not for theory. Abhidharma is not theory. Abhidharma is meant for realization. And we have to practice until we see Abhidharma here. Within. This is very important. So with that, for example, you have to see nama, consciousness. What is consciousness? Without penetrating, without breaking down the compactness of continuity, we think we have a mind, we think we have a soul. But when we develop and we experience our consciousness and see our consciousness in a way described in the Abhidharma, one citta arises after another. We break down the compactness of continuity. Santati Gana is broken down. And then We break down the compactness of grouping. We see actually the consciousness doesn't stand alone. A consciousness always comes with its respective and associated mental states. And this can be experienced and directly seen with our insight. So this is also something. So in this way we break down, and then of course there's another compactness, we say function. And for the mind there's another compactness of object, paramanagana. So anyway, in short, I just want to say that this we have to experience. And to experience these ultimate realities in its very crude form, then we need strong samadhi. Daily life meditation is very valuable, very praiseworthy. We purify our mind daily life, in our work, while driving, while cooking. These are all very praiseworthy, but not enough. If we want to eradicate our defilements from the root, from the latent level, then we need strong samadhi. That's why the Buddha did not go from sila to panya. Sila, samadhi, panya. And clearly in so many suttas, that the samadhi required, the Buddha says, even in the Mahasatipatthana Sutta, in the samadhi, samma samadhi, the Buddha said, is first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and fourth jhana. So we need to cultivate jhana. So, but in the Visuddhimagga, it is also mentioned that excess concentration is necessary. It's also possible. But still we need to use excess concentration, upajjhara samadhi, to break down the ultimate realities. So that's the reason, just briefly explain why we need to develop light and wisdom in order to see the first noble truth, 5 aggregates of clinging. Because it is not enough to see dukkha, the obvious suffering that we can see, old age, sickness and death. We need to see also viparinama dukkha, the dukkha inherent in happiness, in every phenomenon inherent, the latent, the potential to change. Even while we are feeling happy, very happy today, but there is viparinama dukkha because it is changing. Because of the change, we call it, this is the suffering because of the change. And then not enough. If we only understand viparinama dukkha, we don't get liberation. We have to understand sankhara dukkha. So this is the thing that we need to understand if we want to find the way out of liberation, not the way towards liberation, out of the samsara. So, and then another reason we need to develop deep concentration is we need to penetrate the second noble truth, the cause of suffering, the origin of suffering. The origin of suffering is basically paticca samuppada, dependent origination. Without understanding dependent origination, the Buddha said that it is impossible one can find a way to be free from suffering. No liberation can come if we do not understand Four Noble Truths. So the second noble truth, paticca samuppada, which comes from past, we have to see 3 time frame, present, and past, and future. And this past comes from not only past and past lives. Avijja, pajja, sankhara. This is the past. Sankhara, pajja, vijnana. Vijnana, the first time where we will get born into this life. Then the vijnana, we see. Then after that, one after another comes along with vijnana. So this is also difficult, not easy to see past and future. Not easy. You need light wisdom also. You see in the Anattalakkhana Sutta, the Buddha mentions the practice of vipassana. In fact, in many other suttas, the Buddha mentioned, you can read yourself, the practice of vipassana, we have to practice in 11 ways. Past, present, future, internal, external, gross and subtle, superior, inferior, near and far. 11 ways we have to practice this vipassana in order to really understand why. Then you have to understand, because some hidden defilements cannot be easily overcome. If we only develop vipassana on the inside, we need to also practice vipassana on the outside. Because of our different ways, various types of our craving. So to eradicate all craving, we have to see all types of phenomena until we get, what you call it? You may use the word despair. That means you give up false hope towards what is actually hopeless. This is very important. If we do not give up false hope towards what is hopeless, then something within, hidden in our mind, we still hold on. We still hold on. We don't want to let go until we find real despair. This is because right despair, positive despair. Positive despair, right despair, beneficial despair. To give up hope towards what is actually hopeless. Because we still feel there's some I in within. And we want to work and we want to create this I. Then we don't get liberated. Only when we really see, ultimately, inside, outside, all over, there is nothing to hold on to. It's not possible to hold on to anything. Then the mind switch and switch from conditioned phenomena. Because there's no hope in conditioned phenomena, we want to find security. No security in conditioned phenomena. We use them, we need help. We need long life. If we meet the Dhamma, we want to have long life. So that we can use this long life to practice Dhamma and to propagate the Dhamma for the welfare of beings. But even when we cherish these good conditions, we know there is no security in this condition, no footing in this condition. Then the mind changes and towards the unconditioned. As long as we still have slightest holding on to conditioned phenomena, there's no possibility to realize the unconditioned phenomena, which is Nibbana. So this is important. So for that, we need to practice samadhi. For that, we need to practice. Because this first noble truth and the second noble truth, they are the objects of vipassana. The objects of vipassana basically is just the first noble truth and second noble truth. So you can ready yourself. And this is very helpful. The basic suttas, the first sutta, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the second sutta, Anatta Lakkhana Sutta. Very important. Just the first two suttas the Buddha already mentioned, already show the way towards liberation. But for the 5 bhikkhus, the first 5 bhikkhus, they are not ordinary bhikkhus. They are bhikkhus with, when they became arahant, they are accomplished, fulfilled with the 4 Patisambhida jnana. So such bhikkhus, they have practiced a lot of samadhi, a lot of panya, a lot of vipassana in the past. People who have never trained in samatha and vipassana, it's not possible end up suddenly and achieve Patisambhida jnana. So those arahants who have come to this attainment, they have a lot of parami. So you see their mind very pure. Just see when the 5 bhikkhus, why they left the bodhisattva? Because the bodhisattvas gave up the extreme self-mortification only. And even then, the bodhisattva suffered so much, so hungry, and he decided this is not the way. He changed and took a little food. But the 5 bhikkhus thought, oh, this is degrading. He's not practicing anymore, not searching for truth. Then he left. Such mind, very sincere. But they are misunderstanding, but very sincere. Because they thought to search for the truth, we must not give up even if we die. Such mind, very sincere, very pure. but wrong understanding towards the bodhisattva only. So you see, their mind very pure. And in fact, it is very safe to say that they have some good, very good sila and good samadhi. So the Buddha straight away can teach Four Noble Truths. For some disciples who have good parami, the Buddha straight go into Four Noble Truths. But for some, the Buddha teach from sila and slowly samadhi and slowly final. So in this way, we need to understand. So once a yogi succeeds in developing deep concentration, from excess concentration up to absorption concentration, or jhana in one meditation subject, it will not be difficult for him to proceed to master other meditation subjects. So not too difficult. Some people ask, oh Bhante, why you teach so much? Why you want me to practice 10 kasina? I don't want. I want to quickly practice vipassana. I said, well, be patient. You have worked so hard, maybe a few months to get first jhana. And then don't quickly go to practice vipassana. Just a few more days, maybe. After first jhana, with skillful training, maybe days or weeks, you can come up to fourth jhana. Not too difficult. Not too difficult. And then after that, after you have get one fourth jhana, then basically it's the same. It's just changing object. From one object you change another object. From one kasina you change another kasina. Some people can finish it in 1 day or 2 days or 3 days. From one you change it. So maybe safely within 1 month or so, 1 month or 2 months, can reach up to arupa, up to neither perception nor non-perception. Not too difficult. Not too difficult. The most difficult thing is first jhana. Why? Because most people practice with a lot of nivarana, 5 hindrances. Because they wandering here, wandering there. Because of that, the practice becomes very inefficient. So if you get the first concentration, especially after nimitta arises, when you get good concentration, then the joy arises. The faith arises very strongly. Then after that, the mind will let go of a lot of worldliness. Then efficiency of the training comes. It is not because samadhi is difficult to get. It is because we are practiced in a very inefficient way. Half practice, half worldly, half practice, half worldly. So once we are practicing efficiently, not too difficult. So this is the reason we try to promote the students from mastering one meditation subject to mastering all kasinas and up to arupas. Then after that, you have many objects to train. You can switch from one subject to another. And after that, the mind becomes very pliant, very flexible, and very strong. Not only strong, but flexible. The mind that wants to penetrate vipassana needs to be not only strong in concentration, but also very flexible. The mind which is not flexible, very rigid, is not easy to catch up with the fast changing object, which arises within this snap of fingers. Millions are arising and passing away. How to see that? It is almost impossible, we can say, but with samadhi, it is possible. Otherwise, the Buddha would not be able to tell us all this. With samadhi only. The power of jhana, of samadhi, is incredible. It is inconceivable for ordinary mind. That's why this is the power of our mind. We have to strengthen the power of the mind, uplift the power of the mind. This is why the Buddha is giving us a method to strengthen our human potential, to live up to the best of our human potential. Then using this, the best of our power and potential, mind power, to achieve the most difficult task and most noble task, the most sublime and praiseworthy task in this world, which is to realize the Four Noble Truths, to achieve liberation, to realize the unconditioned Nibbana. So this is important. So that's why we also teach to train up and practice other meditation subjects. So it is worth the effort to spend, say, 1 or 2 more months to learn other meditation subject before proceeding to vipassana meditation. After practicing various meditation subjects, a yogi's mind will become very pliant and workable. For training of Vipassana meditation, his Vipassana experience will become deep and profound. He will be able to penetrate 5 everydays of cleaning that the ways taught by the Buddha, such as in Anatta Sutta, in fact in many other suttas. The Buddha says, whatever form, feeling, perception, these are already mentioned, you can read outside. And then it is to be seen as it is with perfect wisdom thus. That is not mine. I'm not that. That's not myself. And that's the breakdown of our DD, our wrong views, our craving, our tanha, and our mana, our pride. Basically, papancha. Such instruction of the Buddha, which we encounter in so many suttas, which many of us conceive to be incredible, becomes possible to apply if we develop concentration. Okay, another we have read out, dependent origination, and then to penetrate. After that, after the training, the first training, you see the first noble truth, and you see the second noble truth, and then you practice Vipassana. You see the Namarupa, and then you understand the dependent origination, the 12 links. All these 12 links are to be seen by direct experience, not by inference, by direct experience. After that, in fact, a lot of wrong views cannot stand when for mind which penetrate dependent origination. All the wrong views you read in Brahmajala Sutta no longer can exist, no longer can remain in our mind. Even though we may not be eradicated from the root, but we cannot bear with such wrong views anymore because we see the right things. Just by seeing dependent origination only, all the wrong views are gone. You don't need to eradicate the wrong view one by one, but by seeing reality, wrong views cannot stand. That's important. Then basically the training, meditation is all about which is concentration and wisdom, as you all know, most of you are familiar in Noble Eightfold Path. And I guess a lot of things we cannot mention enough. It is all given in the books, and you can read out in the website. You can read out. Either you can read, just type in Power Seattle, or type in, I don't know about Bhante Mangala, the Chinese name, the bodhi comes up, or the website. You can read many links. You can read out if you like. So I was thinking when I came, I was thinking, I have only half an hour. What should I say? Rather than, you want to explain everything about the meditation method and everything, so much there. It's just to mention a few which is important for you. And I was thinking, always important that whenever I give a talk, it is important that when you go back and you leave from here, you should benefit, get some benefit for your life. So for that reason, I want to say something basic, very useful and down to earth, and hopefully you will benefit your search for truth. First is, in the training, I noticed a lot of things, many common mistakes that truth seekers they make. So I will mention. One is exercising for health. Many people think this meditation is only for the mind, so they neglect the health. But an unhealthy mind is not easy to meditate. It requires tough training, a very strong mind to really be above the body. Not so easy. Even for myself now, while I'm teaching meditation, I find I have not come to the level where my mind is fully 100% above the body. Not easy. Sometimes when we feel sick and weak, our level of concentration also comes down. Not easy to maintain very, very high level where we get very tired. So strong, robust health, very important. So you can read down. So I suggest a few ways that you can read yourself to maintain your health. And living and practicing close to nature. And nowadays we hear this criticism. Why these people go to the forest to practice? Why we want to stay far away from the people? I think this is a criticism. They criticize the forest monks. This is, you have to be careful with the karma you say. Why? Read out what the Buddha's advice to the monk and to the people. Try to stay close to nature, in the forest. And now with scientific discovery, you know the air in the forest is very conducive for to get the peace of our minds. So for example, when I established a monastery in Himalaya, in Nepal, some of the devotees, they ask me, why, Bhante, we spend so much money and to go so far to practice. We can practice here, back in Kuching, in our monastery. We get good food. But I say, no, it's different. Try yourself. You go to Himalaya and you practice the energy. You see, it is already hard to meditate, not easy to meditate. It is hard to get away from a lot of wandering thoughts. And yet we want to tell ourselves we want to practice in the hardest place. It is inefficient. It is inefficient. For example, you have to do an operation. You say, I want to be healthy. The healthy body should be able to face any kind of air, any kind of condition. But if you are undergoing an operation, you go to operation theater, right? You don't do operation in the open. Why? You give the best protection so that we can recover our health in the most efficient way. So same. So I told them, let's put aside theory, just try it out. So I bring them for a Himalayan trip. So they realize it's different. You can get samadhi much faster in Himalaya. Then after that, you learn the mastery. After you learn the mastery of concentration, okay, good, you come back. You come back and you practice under any condition, then good. Because it is mentioned that an intelligent yogi can practice anywhere. It is true. But still, if an intelligent yogi can practice more efficiently in the forest, they should go to the forest. And after that, when you come out to preach, you have to train yourself. Of course, when we preach, we face a lot of people's problems, and sometimes they come with their seen and unseen forces that we have to deal with. We have to bear up with that when we teach. But if at that time, your forest training comes to help. We are not saying that you need to stay in forest forever and don't come out to teach. We also come into town to teach. But when you practice, use the best environment, the best help, the best tool, and you practice. Just like the Buddha, when he sat under the bodhi tree, he sit here, not suitable, here, until he sat at a place facing the east. Why? There is some magnetic field that's beneficial for the practice. And all the Buddhas, they always attain in the best time. Before the moon fall down, and then when the sun just rises. Something to do with the environmental energy. When the human mind, everything, internally, externally, all the energies work in the most efficient way, in the best balance. And then that is the time we get a breakthrough. But after that, you don't need that anymore. Or you may not need it so much anymore. So this is very important. So we should put aside all the wrong notions which go against the teaching of the Buddha. The Buddha said, go to the forest. The Buddha encouraged going to the forest and trade. Make best use of nature. That's how to say. And you can read up yourself. Minimizing socialization. No doubt, we need to help people. We need to practice our compassion. After practicing in seclusion a long time, and we get all the benefit of the Dhamma, and we don't care for the world out there, it's not right. That is the reason the Buddha wants a monk to go for Pindapata. The Buddha did not allow the monk to store up food. There is a wisdom there. There is a good relationship between the four groups of people, of disciples, the monks, nuns, And then the upasakas and upasikas. This relationship we need to maintain. We teach, we help, but while we are practicing, try not to do that. A lot of socialization is no good. It produces a lot of worldly mind. When we are strong, yes, like the Buddha. When the Buddha teaches, and when he taught at that time, even when he met a lot of people, he still stayed in seclusion. How? When people say sadhu, after he preached sadhu, 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 while saying sadhu, he entered into Nirodha Samapatti. And after that, after the sadhu, he emerged from there. This was the power of the Buddha and many of the great disciples during the Buddha's time. So with this ability, with this mastery, no problem. But while we are practicing, don't give ourselves a lot of burden. It's already enough, it's difficult enough to train in Sila Samadhi, especially Samadhi and Panya. So let's minimize our hindrances and get the best we can and get a mastery, and after that we can test our mastery if we want. And we can, okay, no? Then discard mental limitation. This is not possible, that is not possible, and this is very dangerous. And this is karma itself, no good. From my experience, if I teach my students, if they tell, oh Bhante, it is not possible, it is not possible, I tell you, it becomes really impossible. We should not say it is not possible when it is considered possible by the Buddha. We must not misrepresent the Buddha. And we must not say it is impossible for me also. This is mental limitation. We should discard. We should practice as if every sitting is an occasion for realization, for enlightenment. As if every sitting is getting jhana, every sitting you're likely, this sitting you may get enlightenment. This kind of spirit you should have. If you can practice like that, I will consider, okay, good. You don't have a lot of mental limitation. Otherwise, if you think, oh, this is not possible, this is not possible, then something, the mind is very subtle. Something pulling back your leg, pulling your back, pulling you back while you're practicing. Something. If you are careful enough, you can notice that something. It is pulling you back. So try not to practice. And you read out yourself. I will go into details. What is already given there, I will read. Briefly, I mentioned go through the short because we started late, so allow me a little time. Inclining towards simplicity. Okay. Let's incline your mind, be simple. Try not to look for sophisticated ways to get concentration. Incline your mind for simplicity. And allow happiness and joy in the practice. And I have explained, you can read out this. Some people they say, oh, life is suffering. Why should I be happy? Why good morning? There's one person, you tell him, oh, good morning. He say, oh, no, good morning. Every day is suffering. No, the Buddha said the Buddha is the happiest person in the world. So we must allow ourselves happiness and joy. Actually, by having a lot of stress, giving a lot of suffering to our mind, it doesn't make us closer to Nibbana. You look at a lot of patients in the hospital, are they closer to Nibbana? No. In fact, a person who understands suffering more, he will be happier. Only when we do not understand suffering, we suffer. When we understand suffering, we don't suffer. You can experience that for yourself. When you practice vipassana, you know. The more you understand anicca, dukkha, anatta, the freer your mind it is. Then you get happier in your life. So this is, you can find. Balancing emotions with Brahma Vihara practice. In fact, this is, nowadays people are talking about emotional intelligence. Yes, it's very important. People who have a lot of emotional intelligence, they usually, I find them to be better yogi and easier to teach. They don't get hurt so easily. A person who gets hurt very easily cannot practice love. And in love, in our Buddhist context, love basically means metta, karuna, mudita, and supported by upekkha. If you don't have enough upekkha, your love will be very easy to be shattered. You suffer. You suffer for loving people. If you suffer for loving others, then very difficult to maintain that love. Very difficult to measureless love. So this is very important. Balancing emotions, EQ is very important. And I think the Buddha already gave us the best EQ training. That's Brahma Vihara. The Buddha doesn't only teach love, metta, karuna, mudita. The Buddha teaches ubhekha also, equanimity. That is the foundation of our love. You can experience that for yourself. And cultivating the habit of self-motivation. That's very important. I notice many of my students, they always depend on me. Whenever I'm around, they are very diligent. When I'm not around, I tell you, very difficult. Sometimes they find no motivation. So I tell them, no, you cannot depend on the teacher. We teach the students to be free from dependence on us. We lead for our people to be free from dependence on us. That is the real teaching and leadership. We have to teach in this way. We have to emulate the Buddha's example. So in this way, I think one important thing to make a yogi independent is self-motivation. They must know how to motivate themselves. So please read out and then how to motivate ourselves. And then maybe if we talk about experience, it is necessary to mention, actually we also face some difficulties in teaching, and I've learned since we started Tusita in 2008, for the past 4 years, we have a number actually of monks and nuns all together. I don't know how many already, maybe monks and nuns, 50, 60 over 70, 70s over, some overseas, some here. So basically they have I've seen all various difficulties my students encounter, and I also have a lot of beginning difficulties, especially in teaching female, because I don't know how to deal with emotions those days, and then I learned, and then I find that slowly with more experience, because it's not easy to understand the opposite sex, but slowly with more experience, slowly we can teach better. So that I can read out, and then I also noticed one thing is in meditation problems that faced by the yogis, and also many problems faced by our life. I have one very precious discovery. It's actually many problems you don't need to deal with it. As long as you keep moving ahead, many problems will be left behind. Just by developing more light in our life, darkness disappear by themselves. Rather than all the time you have to search to deal with the darkness. No need. So just develop a lot of strength, a lot of dhamma, then a lot of problems disappear from our life. So the Buddhists gave a very simple way. So if we are faithful enough, then instead of creating a lot of modern ways and new ways, actually the mind is always the mind. The ancient mind and modern mind, the Chitta Niyama, the fixed rule for the mind is basically the same. So we just practice and to understand the mind, then we can solve a lot of human problems. So in teaching and leading, same. So you can read up yourself. I will not read up, and also other difficulties in propagating. And so as the time is up, I will go too long. And please read up. Anything you find, you have to share with us. Any suggestion you can also give. And if not enough time in future, I hope sometimes you can send an email to us. And then that's the reason I put a website there, and from there you can find our emails and you can give a suggestion. Or you're welcome to share, to join us and share with us, or enlighten us on the various aspects of the Dhamma and propagation of Dhamma. So with that, I thank you for your attentive attention. Any time for question? No time. One or two questions. Anyone want to ask a question? Okay, please.
My question is, in the last paragraph you mentioned about the last page. Second last page, you mentioned about that your government does not issue meditation visa. So my question is like, how you gonna teach meditation who are non-Buddhist?
Visa is for foreigners, but for non-Buddhists, no problem. If they want to come, If they come, we just teach them meditation without requiring them to follow our certain our rituals.
Because they don't know the jhana or the Buddhist words, so how are you going to teach them by saying that there is the jhana and Veka, Mudita? And the second question is, you are a meditation teacher, right? So did you get any jhana? And my third question is this is the question which always I'm very curious to know. For non-Buddhists it's okay. For Buddhists, though they practice Dhamma and they practice meditation. 28 Buddhas are gone, but still we are worldly. We didn't get the enlightenment. What is the main reason behind that people didn't get the enlightenment in this world?
Okay, thank you.
Can I go there?
Okay, yes. I'll answer the second question first. Second question is not allowable for me to answer.
Okay.
So the Buddha's rule is that there's a wisdom in the Buddha's, and I will explain that there's a wisdom in the Buddha's rule. Then, how to teach the non-Buddhists? I will give you an example of teaching my mother. My mother, she passed away in April, but anyway, she practiced very well. She got very good concentration, and she practiced samatha and vipassana. And she asked me this question also. I am not so educated, and I don't know much this thing that you are giving the talk, what to talk in the talk. Then, how can I practice? I told her very simple, just pay attention here, don't see other things. Then slowly, then the light appears very bright. The breath becomes light, transform into then shining and translucent. Then just follow one by one. Just do it. It is difficult to memorize a lot of terms, but seeing is not so difficult. Just open your eyes and see. You may not know what it is called microphone. You may not know this called door. You may not know this called what flower. But as long as you develop the ability to see, you can see. Some people can mention, oh, this is what flower. But another person may not be able to describe, but can see. So my mother went through the tough training of samatha vipassana. So I told her, theory explanation is to arouse faith only. Because modern people, they need some theory. They don't see what is ahead, they don't want to go. But I say, if you cannot see, if you want to see, I show you what is ahead, I show you the map. But if you don't want, you just follow. I tell you now, right step, you move, turn right, you move, turn left. Then by doing like that, you can reach there. So no problem with that. And non-Buddhists, no problem. They don't want to accept the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, never mind. If you want, you just try out as an experiment. In the Kalama Sutta, you see, we don't ask people for blind faith. You don't want to believe, okay, no problem. But as long as you are willing, you give a chance to see. But if you disbelieve, you doubt, and then you create a lot of suspicious attitude, without even scientifically prove it. You have to prove. To prove and disprove, you have to have proof. So the real faith actually comes from seeing. So it doesn't matter. We don't ask people to have a irreversible faith. Not possible. The real irreversible faith comes from seeing only. Understand? So because of that, never mind. As long as they are open enough for experiment, they can come. It doesn't matter. You don't have to accept my words, but you can just try. As long as they are sincere enough to experiment, and I think they can come to you. Whether you call yourself Buddhist or non-Buddhist, you just walk and you get, and you open your eyes and you see it. It doesn't make a difference whether we are Buddhist or non-Buddhist. The term Buddhist is not so important. Okay. Then why these days we difficult to get enlightenment? Just ask ourselves, how easy will that go? During the Buddha's time, when they made the Buddha, then when they made the Buddha, they all, very people, you can read from the Sutta, they just say, and Venerable Ratapala, oh, the Buddha's teaching is that, as I understand from that, it's difficult to live perfectly the worldly life. I want to renounce. They just follow, very simple, they just let go without even going back home. So that kind of power they have because of past parami. And that's another reason why people attain very easily during the Buddha's time. Because they were living in the time of arahants. A lot of people with psychic powers, they have seen the twin miracles. the Buddha showed this miracle 3 times. So they have seen. A lot of confidence. And practicing in front of the Buddha is very different from practicing in front of Bhante Mangala. You know, I don't have the power, you know. The Buddha sometimes he may teach, he teaches in the air. Sometimes the Buddha teaches in the air, projecting his image in the air. And then you see that, and then the energy, while you meet the Buddha, the energy is shining to you. The bright. Sometimes too bright that you can't even see exactly the Buddha's face if the Buddha used that power on you. And then the Buddha has the power to bring out all the past potential. If you have not trained in the past, okay, difficult. But if you have trained in the past, the Buddha using his power, the Buddha, he could bring out your past potential by being in his presence. Our past jhana, past power, just very swift appear. And then the moment he direct your mind to see all internally, then immediately all the ultimate realities, very quickly you see. He just direct this. While he's saying, you can immediately, you can practice while he listening to you. While getting instruction, immediately you can practice. That is the power of the Buddha. But I'm sorry, you meet Bhante Mangala only. You don't meet the Buddha. So please be patient. If you come to Sita, you have to practice patiently. That's a fault. Why you don't meet the Buddha. Or you don't get your chance, or you don't make best use of the opportunity in front of the Buddha, or you bypass it. So try. So because of that, you have to practice very hard. There's no easy way. And practice Sila Samadhi Panya. With that, I thank you. Let's try.